I have to get rid of this toy. I don't know how or why, but something has been talking to my son through it, so I have to destroy it. I'm making this recording just in case something happens to me while I do this. It seems ridiculous, but I need others to know. I'm not sure why, but I think something is going to happen to me. So if you find this recording, please send it to the police and tell my wife and son that I love them. I'm just trying to do what's best for my family and keep them safe. And I know what you must be thinking. It's a toy microphone that records you and can connect to your phone through Bluetooth to play fun songs. And that's it. It's only supposed to play your recorded music or stuff playing from your phone. Ours didn't work that way though. Instead of silly music playing through it, weird voices came out of it. Voices that said horrific and dangerous things. At first it just seemed like it was part of the toy. The voices would just say, hello, or play with me. Then it started to ask what our favorite things were, like colors, food, and subjects in school, which all seemed pretty innocent and like it was coming from the toy, so I didn't bat an eye. That is until it started asking for our names and where we lived. That creeped me out and I told my son not to tell it where we lived. I still let him have it, which I now realize was a mistake. My son, who's 3, started playing with it by himself while I cleaned or made dinner. It was cute. I would hear him laughing, singing, and making silly noises that would then play through the microphone. Sometimes it actually did work like a real toy, which was also very deceiving, lulling me into a false sense of security because one day he came to me and asked what a corpse was. I asked him where he heard that from. The microphone told me all the corpses were watching me and that one day I would be one too. What? No, you must have misheard. Sometimes it can get a little muffled sounding. I'm sure that's not what it said. I know, I should have taken it from him right then and there, but I couldn't believe that a kid's toy would say something like that. That would be insane, right? Well, it was insane. It did say that, and that wasn't even the worst of it. Days later, he asked me where our knives were. What? Why? I said, trying not to freak out. That's not a normal question a toddler asks. Because the voices said that I should try cutting myself straight down on my wrist. They said candy would come out and I could have all that I wanted. I finally took the microphone away from him and had as serious of a talk as I could with a toddler about stuff like that. He understood. I think he was actually relieved when I took it from him. I don't think he fully understood the gravity of the situation, but he knew something wasn't right with the toy. I told my wife about the odd stuff that I'd said to our son. I don't think she fully believed me. I mean, who could blame her? It's some messed up stuff, but she said to get rid of it if I thought it was putting weird thoughts into our son's head, and I agreed. I put it on a shelf in our room, and every night it would talk even though my phone wasn't connected to it. I took out the batteries and the voices just kept talking. Every night at midnight for the last week, we've woken up to little voices saying, "Come play with me. We miss you, Daddy. Please let us come back home." And then finally, the one that made me make this recording while I'm driving in the middle of the night, trying to find somewhere to leave this thing. "We know where you live. Your son told us. We'll be there, Daddy." At that point, my wife started to believe me. She's a pretty heavy sleeper, but even she would wake up to what it was saying, and she agreed that I needed to do something about this fucking microphone. Oh, and don't think I haven't already been trying to do something about this stupid thing. I've tried breaking it, smashing it, submerging it in water, running over it with my car, and even lighting it on fire. Nothing works. It comes out of it all unscathed. Nothing can break this toy. Then yesterday, I threw it directly into the garbage truck and watched as it should have gotten completely destroyed by the compactor. Satisfied, I went back inside and relaxed. We didn't hear anything from that toy the rest of the day. We're free, right? Wrong. At midnight tonight, I woke up to the same voices asking me, "Why did you try to hurt us, Daddy? We only want to love you. We only want to watch as the skin gets peeled off of your corpse." It just keeps coming back. That was 2 hours ago and I'm sick of it. I'm on my way to, I don't know where. I'm just driving around trying to find some place that might be able to destroy it. I thought maybe a dump would work, but the trash compactor didn't work. Maybe holy water from a church? Maybe if I bury it in a consecrated graveyard? Or would that just make it stronger? I don't know. Maybe I should just go home. If I call the church in the morning, hopefully they'll be able to... What the hell? I just saw a group of children on the side of the road staring at me. I don't think I would have even noticed, but they were on the corner a couple blocks ago and no. Here they are again, on the side of the road just watching me. What is that in their hands? Is that a toy microphone? What? They have the same toy microphone that is right beside me. Where is it? I can't find. It's not in my car. Maybe it rolled under my... Ah! They're right outside the window and they're holding the microphone. 4 kids, around 7 or 8 maybe, but with black eyes. One is holding the microphone up to his mouth and saying something. What is he? Is he speaking into the microphone? "Hello, come play with me." Is that coming from my radio? "What's your favorite color?" "I like red because it's the color of your insides." Nope. Fuck this. I'm driving home. I'm not dealing with what my car won't move. Why is it off? I didn't turn it off. Shit. They're trying to get into the car. Go away. I don't know what you want, but I'm not playing with you. Open the door, please. We just need a ride home. We're lost and cold, and it's getting dark. We just need someone to help us. Won't you help us? We know you want to help us. Well, maybe. Maybe I should help you. You seem like nice kids, and hey, you have the same funny toy that my son has. Yeah, I think I can help you. But wait, no. Why would I say that? I'm not helping these creepy-ass kids. No, think. They have black eyes, and they haven't changed their facial expression this whole time. But we're lost and cold. We need help or we'll die out here. You don't want us to die, do you? You don't want to be responsible for another death, do you? No, I don't. But that was an accident. He walked across the street when he shouldn't have, and I haven't had a drink since that night. They rolled it as an accident and didn't press charges. It was your fault. If you hadn't been drinking, you would have seen him. You wouldn't have killed our father. He was the only thing we had left, and you killed him. Why would you do that to us? Our mother died from cancer 5 years ago, and our dad was only trying to provide for us, and you killed him. You killed him. Why would you do that? How could you? No, I didn't kill him. I did. It was an accident. I don't even remember it. That whole night is a blur, and I don't even think he had kids. He was homeless, and they said he was on drugs while crossing the street. No one said anything about him having kids. What are you? Open the door. We just want to come in from the cold. It's getting dark. We need a ride home. Please, mister. You're our only hope. We'll die out here without you. Please. Yeah. Okay. I think I should help you. You seem like nice kids after all. Okay, let me help you in. What are you doing? Get off me! Ow! What the fuck? No! Get off me! You get ah! Daddy? A little voice coming from outside the bathroom said. Not again, I said to myself, anticipating what came next. Please go play. I just need a little time. But Daddy, I want to play with you. Give me a minute, okay? I'm almost done. I lied. I had just sat down, so it was gonna be a while. Just open the door. I'll come in there and play. No, I'm a grown-up. I need some privacy. But Daddy, the voice said, pounding on the door that led into the small, dimly lit room. Please don't hit the door while I'm in here, I said with a sigh and putting my hands over my face. I need you to fix this toy. It got broken. I will, I promise. I just need one more minute, okay? I said, hoping the voice would forget about me and go somewhere else. But I need you to do it right now, the voice said, another bang on the door. Just one more minute, please. Then we can go do whatever you want, okay, buddy? I said to the silent void outside. Buddy? You okay out there? Still nothing. Oh, thank God, I thought. I think he went away and finally started playing by himself. Can you see my hand? I looked at the crack under the door and audibly gasped. A pale, white hand the size of a large adult's with long, black nails with mere inches from me. It flexed a few times to where I could see dark, purple bruises on the knuckles and a dryness so severe that the blood seeped out of the cuts. It took me several moments to regain my composure. Oh my God, what's wrong with your hand? You know what's wrong with my hand, it said in a demonic tone, pulling the hand back underneath the door. No, I don't. I don't know what's wrong with you, me, or anything, I once again said to the nothingness beyond the door. No reply came for about 10 seconds. Then a few more passed, and when even more time went by, I was beginning to think that it had finally ended for the night. That maybe for once, I could have a little bit of peace and quiet while I performed my nightly ritual. I truly hoped that it was so, but deep down, I knew better. Nothing was over, especially this. And right on cue, a sound like nails on a chalkboard pierced my skull, causing me to cover my ears. Did you hear me? It said, with childlike anger in its voice, after I had uncovered my ears. What? No, I couldn't. What did you say? I asked you to come out here. I built something I want you to see. I can't right now. I still need a minute, buddy, I said, not knowing why I was still calling it buddy. Whatever this thing was, it wasn't my son, and it definitely wasn't my buddy. In hindsight, I think it was a combination of two things. Number one, I was just playing along with it and giving it what it wanted, so it would be quicker to leave me alone. Number two, it was an old habit. I used to call my real son buddy all the time. It was one of the main nicknames I had for him. That and Buckethead. What can I say? Big heads run in our family, so it only felt right. But you have to, it said. What did you build? I said, trying to speed this whole thing along. It was late and I was tired. If you tell me what you built, I will be even more excited when I see it. It's a house made out of my bones. I pulled my skin over it to make the walls. I mean, how do you even respond to that? A house made of your child's skin and bones? What the hell? If this all really was in my head, then there is something seriously wrong with me. More so than people already think. This wasn't the first time I had said something like this either. It would often talk about blood, skin, and being crushed to death, but one of its more deplorable acts involved gouging out its own eyes and shoving them under the door. I almost vomited into the trash can at that one. Sometimes it was visual, but sometimes it was purely just sound. As you've heard, it likes to make the sound of nails on a chalkboard. It also just likes to scream at me. When it does this, it doesn't even say words. It just screams like a toddler throwing a tantrum. Only it lasts for hours without getting tired or hurting its voice. I know others can't hear it because other people have asked me if I was okay when I was covering my ears, and I asked them if they can hear it. Hear what? They asked. That's when I knew I was in trouble. After taking a deep breath to regain my composure, I commented on the skin and bone house it built. That's awesome. I can't wait to see it, I said, trying to sound enthusiastic about it. Daddy? Yes, buddy. Why am I dead? What? I said, why am I dead? I don't know. I don't think you are. Ed had never asked me this before. This was uncharted territory. Then why is blood coming out of my eyes? I was shaking. Why would it say these things? What did it want? Did it just want me to end it? Did I just want to end it? To end everything? Because if that's what it would take to stop this, I think I was willing and able to do it. I'd do anything to not have to go through this hell ever again. It's just like that time with the train. You remember that, Daddy? You remember what happened with the train? You just need to go back to bed. It's super late and your mom is going to kill me if she knows you're awake. As soon as I said it, I knew it was a mistake. Kill you? You mean like when you killed me? What? No, that didn't. No. Remember? I know you haven't forgotten. It's why you're here. No, this isn't real. A long silence once again. Oh, thank God, I thought. It really got me this time, so it must be done for the night. It must be. A faint noise beyond the door. I leaned forward to hear it better. No, not that. Anything but that. I heard the far-off sound of a train getting gradually closer until I felt it barreling down on me once again. After momentarily shattering my reality, it dissipated, becoming nothing more than an echo in my mind. As I sat there hyperventilating, like I did when I was a child, I reflected on the fact that I didn't have the same luxury the second time the train came around, and neither did my son. Don't worry about any of that, Daddy. Here, take a look at what I drew, the voice said after I had calmed down. A piece of paper slid under the door, which I ignored. Look at it! I picked it up and could barely see it due to my hands shaking. I can't tell what it is, buddy. It's too dark in here. That's okay, Daddy. I'll help, the voice said. The light switch then flicked on by itself, illuminating the white bathroom in a blinding light so bright that I could hear it. My eyes didn't adjust quickly, but when they finally did, I looked at the picture and was horrified. Why did you draw this? I said, fighting back tears. Because it's the last memory before you killed me. I didn't kill you. Then why am I dead? It was an accident. I swear it was an accident, I said, looking at the paper. Tears started to well up in my eyes. The picture was of a train hitting a car. Beside the crash was the crudely drawn picture of a boy holding a conductor's cap with droplets of red coming off of it. I'm so sorry, AJ, I said, tears coming out of my eyes. Daddy, just play with me and everything will be better, it said, sounding like my son did before he died. I just about gave in and opened the door. I had never been that tempted before, but seeing the drawing almost pushed me over the edge. I don't know what would have happened or what I would have seen. I just know that it wouldn't have been pretty, and I probably wouldn't be telling you about any of it. I tried to hold on to my resolve and tell myself that it wasn't real, that it could do nothing to me if I just kept the door closed. I took one final deep breath to try to get to the end of the little show that it liked to put on. No, you need to learn to play by yourself, I said, getting back into character. But I want you to play with me. That's not my job anymore. My job isn't to play with you. You said you would always love me and that you would always play with me. I will always love you. That will never stop, no matter what. It's just that you died. You're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be moving on.
That's not how this works, old man. That's not what you're supposed to say.
And you're not really him. You're probably not even real. Come play with me, Daddy. Come play with us, the voice said, returning to a more childlike state. No, you're not him. You're not my son. You're some thing that's trying to play a trick on me. I don't know what you want, but you have to leave me alone. But we love you, Daddy. We'll always love you. We want you to come out and be with us forever. Forever, Daddy.
Forever, Daddy. Forever.
No, please leave. This isn't real. You're not really there. He died and you're just...
That's right. He died and you killed him. You're the reason he's dead.
No, it was an accident. I didn't mean to. Yes, you did. You never wanted him.
You never wanted us.
You've always just wanted to be left alone to wallow in your pain and suffering. No, liar. We were happy. We were a family. We loved each other, all three of us. Now it's just you. She left you after you killed her son. After you murdered him. No, it was an accident. I didn't see the train. I didn't see the train. Now who's the liar? You saw the train and just thought you could beat it. Why? So you wouldn't look like a bad parent who was late bringing his son to school. Now look at you, wallowing in self-hate in the middle of the night,
Talking to yourself through a bathroom door.
No, I'm a good dad. It was an accident. It was an accident. Come play with me, Daddy. Come play with me. I love you, Daddy. Come play with me.
Come play with me. Come play with me. Come play with me. Come play. Come play. Come play.
No, no, no! Silence. Bigsby? A female voice said, coming from outside the bathroom. Bigsby, are you okay in there? Yeah, I'm fine, I said, flushing the clean toilet and opening the door. Okay, good. I heard something and just wanted to make sure. Yeah, well, let's get you back to your room. Thank you, Nurse Patty. You're always nice to me. I really appreciate it. All I wanted to do was go camping with my dog. All I wanted was some time to myself. All I wanted was to live. But she didn't want that. She didn't want any of that. Daphne was hungry and she only wanted me. I'm getting ahead of myself. Here's my story, but be forewarned, it's not going to be pretty. And a word of advice, never go camping alone, even if it's with your dog. And, most importantly, remember, she's always watching. It was right around dusk when I pulled up to the entrance. The gate attendant opened the door in their little house and asked what I needed. Do you have any campsites available? I doubt it. We're pretty full up. How long you planning on staying? Just tonight. Let's see. If you're just staying this one night, it looks like we have one. People who had it before checked out early. Haven't had any time to see if it's cleaned up or not, but it's all yours if you don't mind. There might be some trash. Fine by me. Fair warning, it's an older campsite that's isolated from all the others and takes a little while to get to. Might be about dark by the time you get there. No cell service and no other lights either. I've got some wood and some kindling for a fire, so I'll be okay. Suit yourself. Don't say I didn't warn you, the old gate attendant said, shaking his head. After I paid, he handed me my camping pass. Check out at 11 tomorrow morning, and since you'll be all by yourself, I'm gonna waive the pet fee. Having a dog with you just might save your life. Tonight, you're gonna need all the friends you can get. Thanks. I appreciate it. Have a good night, I said and drove towards the campsite. Spending the night alone under the stars with my dog Storm? Now that sounded magical. My wife was chaperoning a school trip that our son was on, and our daughter was at a sleepover with friends. I had planned on being a chaperone too, but ended up having to work late, so I missed the bus. I was gonna drive there, but she told me not to worry about it and to just stay home with the dog. Even with the campsite, it would end up saving us money on a kennel for the dog and gas money for me to meet them at the hotel. I was honestly ecstatic that I didn't have to go on the trip. Not that I didn't love my wife and kids. That couldn't be further from the truth. I absolutely adore them. They're my world. I would do anything for my family. It's just that sometimes it's nice to just get away and be by yourself for a little while. Between being a father, a husband, and working well over 40 hours a week, I was exhausted and just needed a moment to myself to recharge. And this was it, a night under the stars with my trusty companion. As I drove away from the gate, I looked in my rearview mirror and saw the gate attendant was staring at my car, expressionless. People are weird, aren't they, boy? I said, petting Storm. The old man at the gate was right about one thing, though. It was quite the trek to the campsite. It took probably around 45 minutes when all was said and done. The speed limit was between 5 and 15 miles per hour, and I had to go around tons of twisty roads. For the most part, it's a pretty ordinary campground. tents, cabins, yurts, and plenty of RVs. Little kids playing on the playgrounds, people of all ages leaving the little beach area, which closed at sundown. Nothing out of the ordinary other than the long drive to my campsite. It was actually nice to take it slow, have the windows rolled down, and just enjoy the crisp air of early fall. It had been a scorcher of a summer in Mine River. The weather in southeast Missouri has a reputation for being a little unpredictable, but on this fine fall day, it was nothing but bliss. The leaves were at their peak beauty, so many different colors, with it being such a thick and lush forest that was surrounding me. Since I had my windows down, the smell of dead leaves permeating my nostrils let me know that I was truly alive, and their crunch added to it, creating a smorgasbord that my senses could partake in. I had the pumpkin scone that I was eating combined with the soft fur of my trusty companion, and I was covering all 5 senses. Like I said, total bliss. Things were going great until I caught my first glimpse of her. Initially, she seemed like a normal child playing on the playground. I only noticed her because she turned to me and waved with a surprised smile, almost like she wasn't quite expecting us to be there just yet, but that we were expected later. This happened as I was looking at the playground, thinking how I missed it when my son and daughter used to play there once upon a time. They're both teenagers now, so they wouldn't be caught dead playing on a playground. I remember, though, when it was all they wanted to do. Those enchanted days of childhood innocence truly do go by too quickly, even when we try to hold on to them, just like that little girl was holding onto the monkey bars as she waved to me. Nothing about her seemed threatening, just a small pale girl with long straight black hair wearing a flowered dress who looked to be around 8 or 9 years old. A girl who seemed like the apple of her parents' eye, who even though she probably went through a rough toddler stage and would be a terror as a teenager, was in the sweet spot in age where she was loving and helpful to her parents. They better enjoy it while they can, I thought. That's gonna be a wild one, just like mine. Something made me do a double take as I was passing the playground. Even though I couldn't put my finger on it, there was something that was off about her. She looked like and acted just like the other kids, but something made my hackles rise. Storm sensed something too because he started growling. Nothing big, just a small growl, because like me, he probably wasn't sure what it was he was sensing. He was an 80-pound Black Lab Belgian Malinois mix, and he was every bit of 80 pounds. Very long legs, loyal, and so attached to our family that he would do anything to protect it, but also acted like a baby around us. The best companion to have with me on a lonely camping trip. He was leash trained but could be let off at any time and would come back when called. His growling made me feel even more on alert. I'm of the belief that a dog can sense danger more than we can, so when a dog is upset, there's usually a reason why. "You're okay, Storm," I said as we passed the playground without incident. "We'll get away from this weirdness soon enough. You want a hot dog when we get to the campsite?" "Oh, I bet you do." Storm relaxed and got happy as we kept trekking along to our destination. All clear from here on out, no problems at all. I was determined to have a good time and unwind at this campsite. Nothing was going to stop me. Nothing could stop me. I wouldn't let it. We were coasting along at 5 miles per hour shortly after passing the playground when we saw the beach coming up. Memories of my children playing on the shores of this lake came flooding back to me. Another reason I was so hellbent on camping here and having a good time was knowing that my kids would soon be moving away and wouldn't be needing me anymore. Like any dad, I thought I was very much looking forward to when they would be on their own and I wouldn't have to hold their hand at every turn. But honestly, I don't think I truly felt that way. I have a problem with not being present and just enjoying the moment. At every stage of parenthood, I would always think how much easier it would be when they would get to the next step. When they wouldn't need a bottle every few hours, when they could eat solid food, when they could walk, when they could talk, read, write, play sports, drive, and subsequently move out of the house. Now that I was faced with that inevitability, I was scared. I'd been a parent for over a decade now, and I didn't realize it until recently, but I had really turned that into a core part of my identity. True, my children would always be my children and could always come to me if they needed anything, but being the parent of a toddler or elementary school kid is way different than being the parent of a high schooler. Or, I would assume, a college student who only saw you when they needed laundry done or wanted a home-cooked meal. I just wanted them to grow up slightly slower. I needed them to stay my little buddies who lived in my house for just a little bit longer. I needed to make sure I was ready for them to leave as much as I needed to prepare them for the adult world. Taking this trip and reflecting on everything was very much something I needed, and passing the beach was definitely making me go down memory lane. Only, memories of my children weren't the only thing rushing towards me. Again, I saw a little girl wearing a flowered dress with straight black hair who was waving at me. I didn't register it at first, but it's what looked to be the same little girl from the playground. This time she waved at me in a crazy, happy, frantic sort of way. Was this some sort of coincidence? Was that her twin I saw before and they were playing a prank or something on me? No, couldn't be. There's no way. Look, I told myself, kids wave at random people all the time. Maybe that's what happened and just 2 kids who looked the same were doing it and both just happened to be within the same campground. Made more sense than anything else that could be happening, right? Right, had to be. But Storm growled just like he did before. Not a huge growl, a snarl, or anything like that. I just heard a low rumble come out of him as we passed the beach and I saw the girl. Again, he stopped when we were clear of the area. I patted him and said that we're almost there, that it'll be okay. He wagged his tail and looked excitedly out the window. After the beach, there was nothing for a while, just a field. This is when it really started to get weird. The same damn girl was in the field, and this time I knew it was her. There wasn't a campsite around, and it was getting dark. No way there was a third girl who looked exactly the same as the other two. No, at that point, I just refused to believe it. And to make matters even creepier, there were two little boys around maybe 4 and 6 years old with her too. I don't know if they were with her before, they were probably blending in with the other kids in the playground, but they were with her now, and as she skipped around the field and picked flowers with a little smile on her face. As we passed, her head slowly turned towards us without any expression on it whatsoever, just like the gate attendant as we drove away. As she looked at us, she waved ever so gently, as if trying not to scare away the bugs. Her head followed my car as I drove away. I saw her vacant eyes in the rearview mirror watch us get out of sight, her raised hand motionless. It was then that Storm started to growl again. Puzzled, I scanned the encroaching horizon and saw a shadowy figure obscured by the setting sun. It was the same girl. She was once again on the side of the road on the passenger side of the car in a field, but this time she was looking down, not towards us, and she was once again by herself. I had the urge to stop and roll down my window when we came upon her. I was going to ask if she was okay when her face slowly raised up to look at mine. Those same vacant eyes were there, but this time her face was covered in blood and her mouth was moving as if she was chewing on something. She stopped chewing only for a sinister grin to form on her face, followed by the most blood-curdling scream I'd ever heard in my life. I immediately got back in my car and floored it. I needed to get the fuck out of there and to my campsite. Before I could shake off those encounters, I heard something outside. A scream. I heard the same scream and it was getting progressively louder. The girl was running on the other side of the road in the opposite direction that I was going. But this time, it was a scream of terror as she actually looked scared. Instincts took over and I slammed on my brakes. My daughter had been her age at one time, and so the father in me acted. I didn't care that she had just creeped me out. I should have, but I didn't. After putting the car in park, I got out and looked where she was running and saw nothing. I didn't hear or see her anymore. It was as if she'd up and vanished, which I didn't understand because there's nowhere to hide. We were beside a field with short grass and no trees and no buildings. There was nothing. I must be losing my damn mind, Storm, I said, getting back into the car. Should we just go home? This is getting weird. Storm licked my face and pawed at me. He gave a little bark and started panting while wagging his tail. He looked kind of happy, like he wanted to keep going. Okay, but if anything happens, it's on you, I said, petting his head and scratching behind his ears. Yeah, I know. Stupid. Who keeps going after that? I should have just turned around and left. I could have been home in time to catch the end of the game. Something was tugging at me towards that campsite, though. Something was making me not worry about seeing what I had been seeing. I think it was working on Storm, too, because he didn't seem very anxious and hadn't growled at the girl when she ran past us screaming, which I only now noticed in hindsight. My thoughts were on how long it would take us to build a fire and to get the hot dogs going. For some reason, I wish that I had brought burgers or some other type of meat. I was really hungry for something bloody and red. I usually like my steak medium, but I wanted one very rare, one that was only slightly warm. My mind kept thinking about the point in the meal where you took that first bite, when you get to rip the steak apart with your teeth. The thought of that slight crunch as you bite down, the ripping and tearing of your teeth, the juices streaming down your face as you chew and gorge yourself on that hunk of meat. It was an incessant thought until we got to the campsite. I usually bring more food, especially if my wife and kids are with me. But this was such an impromptu trip that anything other than hot dogs slipped my mind. Prior to the want for steak, I was just happy that I brought buns and mustard. Marshmallows also crossed my mind, but I didn't have any of those either. Just a pack of hot dogs and all their fixins, a 6-pack of beer, and a granola bar with a can of coffee for the morning. Good enough for me and Storm for one night and one morning. After I somehow put the screaming girl out of my mind, we were pretty close to our campsite. It was now dark enough for me to need headlights to see, especially now that we were getting more into the forest. An old forest from the looks of it. Thankfully, the rest of the drive was uneventful. The calm before the storm, really. As we pulled up, I was pleasantly surprised that there wasn't really any trash at the campsite. It was as if no one had been there in weeks. I let Storm out to do his business and unload the car. I got the fire going first thing and started to set up the tent. I've never been that great at setting those damn things up, but I was able to get it up quick enough. I'd forgotten to bring a skewer to roast my hot dogs on, so I started to look for a good stick on the ground. As I did, I threw the ball for Storm to fetch. That dog loved to chase and catch balls. After a bit of searching, I had taken us away from our campfire, but I could still see it, so I wasn't worried. Not then, at least. I only started to worry when Storm stopped coming back after I threw the ball. I'd luckily found a good stick by then, so I headed back to the campsite. It was at that moment that everything changed, and not for the better. As I came out of the brush of the old forest, I heard chewing sounds. My first thought was that Storm had gotten into the hot dogs. He hadn't. It was much worse than that. What I saw, I couldn't believe. Storm was sitting by the fire and eating something. I wasn't able to really see what it was because sitting beside him were the same 2 little boys from before, And her. The little girl I had kept seeing on my way there. She was there. This time, she wasn't covered in blood. She wasn't screaming, and she didn't have a vacant look on her face. She was dressed in that same flowered dress and just looked like a normal child. The boys were wearing matching striped tank tops and shorts. One was slightly taller than the other, but other than their slight age difference, they could have been twins. "Hello, mister," the little girl said. "Your dog sure is hungry." I stood there, mouth agape, not able to process what I was seeing. "You're those kids I saw on the side of the road. What the hell? How did you get here?" "What do you mean?" "We've always been here." "Who are you?" "I'm Daphne, and these are my brothers, Daniel and David." "I just saw you on the side of the road running the other way. What are you doing here?"
We've always been here.
What's going on?"
"My brothers and I were wondering if you had anything to eat."
"Anything to eat? Where are your parents?"
"Oh, you're a funny one. You can play with us after we eat."
"Play with you? I think we should find your parents or call the police or something," I said, taking out my phone, but I didn't have any service. I remember the gate attendant saying that there was no service up here. Then I panicked.
"Don't worry, mister. You won't be needing that anymore."
What do you mean?
"Oh, just that we're always hungry."
"I have to go. I need to find someone that can take care of you children," I said, knowing full well that they were not really children. Not anymore.
"Please, mister, we're so hungry."
"You can eat these hot dogs while I go find help," I said, tossing them to her.
This won't be enough. Not for our hunger.
"Then what do you want?"
"Oh, I thought I already told you that."
"What?"
To eat.
She said in a very raspy voice, but now flashing a smile that was now filled with sharp, jagged fangs. You know when they say your body takes over in a stressful situation and it's either fight, flight, or freeze? Well, in this instance, my body chose flight, and I am not embarrassed at all about it. I mean, would you be? There's no way anyone could fight that. Even if she wasn't a ghost or whatever, what would you want me to do? Punch her? Not happening. Worst case scenario, she is what she appears to be, and my fighting would get me nowhere but dead. Best case scenario would be me punching a child who was just playing a prank. Neither turns out well for me. The other choice is I just freeze. That definitely gets me killed. At least with running away, I have a chance to live. So I turned and ran for my car, but when I got in and was about to start it, I realized that Storm was still sitting beside her around the campfire. "I really hope they're not trying to kill my dog," I said to myself, getting out of the car. I took the keys and ran back, but left the door open. I figured that would make it easier for us to escape. I wasn't worried about them getting into the car. I had the keys, and I figured if she could basically teleport up and down the road, then she could easily get into my car whether it was open or not. Also, I wanted to make sure Storm could just jump in. When I got back to the campfire, which was no more than 20 feet from my car, they were all gone. The fire was still going, but that was it. I stood there for a second looking around for any sign of where they went and saw nothing.
Storm, where are you, boy?
I listened and heard rustling in the trees behind the campsite. A yelp came out of the distance, so I followed it and kept calling for him. I saw him running one way and then another. We kept circling around the trees until I wasn't sure where we were and lost sight of him. "Storm, come back, come back!" I said, getting cut off and tripping over what I thought was a log. I couldn't see very well, so I instinctively reached into my pocket to pull out my phone to use the flashlight. I then shined it on the log, but it wasn't a log. It was the furthest thing from a log. It was the corpse of one of the little boys. I stumbled back, not believing what I was seeing, and tripped again, backwards this time. It was the other little boy. This time I noticed bite marks all over the body, as if something had been eating him. At first I thought it might have been Storm, but those were not from a dog or any other animal I can think of, save one. They were human bite marks. I didn't even question it. Still don't. I know for a fact that these boys were eaten by another person. But who? How? There's no way this could have happened this fast. Besides, I could still see the glow of the campfire. We hadn't gone very far and had only circled around the woods by the campsite. I would have seen them before now or witnessed what had happened. What was going on? I was still sitting on the ground when Storm ran up to me and licked my face, breaking me out of my stupor. He then led me back to the car. I wanted to run back and jump into it, but I treaded carefully, not knowing what lay ahead of us. Before we made it back to the light of the fire, I started hearing a weird sound, a squelching sound, almost like biting or chewing, only worse. As we made it through the trees, I was ecstatic that I could see my car, but was stopped by my discovery of what that awful sound was. The boys I had just seen in the woods were lying on the ground, mouths open and vacant eyes. They were just as dead as before, and Daphne was eating them.
"Thanks for the hot dogs, but this is what I hunger for. Unfortunately for you, they're not enough. They've never been enough. I need something
More!
She said, lunging towards us. I don't know how, but the next thing I know, we're driving down the road.
I don't remember getting into my car and getting away. My adrenaline must have picked up and I just ran. I was nervous as we drove out of the campground. I kept thinking we'd see her again or that she was going to pop up out of the back of the car. That train of thought kept going until I could see the entrance again. I figured it would be empty since it was so late. No need to man it, but I was wrong. As my lights illuminated the little house, I could see the old gatekeeper was standing there once again. Don't know if he had been standing there the whole time or what, but he had the same expressionless look on his face. The gate was closed, so I couldn't leave until he opened it for me. I pulled up and rolled down my window as he spoke to me. I see you made it out alive. Not many are that lucky. She either liked you or liked your dog. Either way, keep an eye out until morning. You're not out of the woods just yet, he said, now raising the gate. I wouldn't push your luck any further. If I were you, I would never come back here again. She doesn't let anybody go twice. Thanks for the advice, I said, driving away. I moved my mirror so I couldn't see out of it. I didn't want to know if he was still staring at me again or not. I had enough weird shit happen that night. Besides, we were finally free. We had made it out and I didn't have to ever think about what happened to me ever again. I could just chalk it up to a bad dream or some weird trick of the light. Everything was fine. Until the next morning. Daphne had left her mark after all and claimed one final victim. Storm was sick. He kept throwing up throughout the night and was very lethargic. I took him to the vet and they tried all they could but said he wouldn't make it. They asked if he had eaten anything weird, and I told them we had been camping the night before, so maybe he had gotten a hold of something in the woods. They nodded and said that they were very sorry, that it was probably poison from a trap or something that someone left. They said Storm was 10, so he had lived a pretty good life. I called my wife and told her. She was devastated. She said she'd wait to tell the kids until they got home since there was nothing we could do and they wouldn't make it in time to say goodbye anyway. We talked about what we wanted to do with his body, and we decided an urn with his name on it. I love that dog, and after that night, he deserved to be remembered. I still believe he's the only reason I survived. He saved my life on more than one occasion. I know that for a fact. I often wonder if Daphne targeted me on purpose and wanted to eat me for real, or if she just wanted to get me out of the campsite and to never return. If that's the case, then she's gonna get what she wants because I'm gonna follow that old man's advice and never go camping there or anywhere ever again. Not anywhere around Mine River anyway.